And let's go into our first game of this best of 3. Of course, we have 10 best of 3s for you guys today. Starting out, again, we always do 2 matches at a time. So we're going to do 5 matches live, 5 matches from replay, or that's the plan at least. Obviously, things can change, things can happen. The other day, certain matches were faster than others, so we ended up doing 6 matches live. All of it's going to be absolutely spoiler-free, though. Nobody in the world will know the results of the other matches, apart from my second account, which I'm not even really watching or paying attention to. So, literally, no one knows what's up, no one knows what's happening. And it's going to be 10 best of 3s. Again, we might not cast all 10 if the matches start taking a while and they go on a little bit, which definitely can happen. We've actually pretty much, so far, though, cast everything. We've only missed, out of 60 matches, we've only not cast 2 of the best of 3s that have been played. So we're doing pretty well so far for casting pretty much everything. So what I'm trying to say is welcome, and I hope you have a great evening of StarCraft 2 with us as we do get this kicking off. And already here in the PvP, looks as though Cyan wants to be a little bit suspicious and sneaky with a probe coming across the left-hand side here. I mean, back in his main base, it looks very regular, right? Double gateway, etc. The one thing that MaNa should realize is there is only a single pylon, whereas he obviously has 2, and there's no reason for Cyan to really only have a single pylon unless he built one out on the map. The pylon is going to be for Twilight Council, so going straight into the Twilight here. It's not going to be a Stargate, it's not looking to be harassy or a little bit aggressive. This is looking to try and kill. As MaNa, he knows that something is missing. He is starting to scout around. He was rallied down here for a second, and he is rallied towards the Twilight. So he's going to find this pretty quickly. Again, I feel like if you do this as Cyan, you kind of need to invest into an additional pylon just to make sure. There we go. MaNa finds it. Because he didn't see that second pylon right away, he now knows what is up. So the Twilight Council coming down, and we're going to be seeing potentially, I mean, what do you actually go from here? Maybe the original plan was a Dark Shrine, but now, well, now it's actually just kind of tough. How do you even keep this alive if a couple of Stalkers coming across? The depths are what Cyan made, and he's not really going to have much of a way to push those Stalkers back at all. Stargate on the way up. Kind of feel like maybe you build like a Dark Shrine back at home and you just sacrifice the Twilight. The issue is you would usually like to have this Twilight still alive, because by keeping the Twilight Council alive still, you could then later on get an upgrade going. Well, 4 Adepts are going to come in to fight this here, and if they fight these Stalkers straight up, they should be able to get a kill, especially if the Stalkers continue to focus on the pylon. But now an Oracle on the way up, so it kind of feels like eventually that pylon is going to be in a lot of trouble. It's now 4 Stalkers versus 4 Adepts. They will shade on top, and so just gets that in the end. So for a Stalker, 4 an Adept, but obviously this is not going too well. 2 more Adepts are on their way over, trying to use the high ground vision. I mean, he started Blink on this Twilight, but I mean, not going to happen. Has to cancel it here as it gets empowered. We'll try to catch another Stalker, but again, it's just not really feeling all too successful. And with an Oracle coming across the map, MaNa is going to be getting in towards the main base. And, well, I mean, okay, there's a shield battery here to protect Cyan. That is so essential, because if he doesn't have that, he has absolutely nothing to turn this Oracle away. To the point where the Oracle might just sit above and just sort of use the energy anyways. Oh, he's going to stasis ward. Well, Cyan can pull away from that and just leaves, oh, 1 probe behind, but these other probes, it's so frustrating. The stasis ward, it doesn't actually, it actually kind of triggers larger than its area. It's just like the area which you kind of walk in to trigger it, it then has like a bit of a radius beyond that, which then catches units, and that's why those 4 probes get caught. Well, that's nice when MaNa slows down a bit of the mining at least, which you can definitely look at as something positive here. As we do see this Oracle heading down to the bottom right-hand side. A couple of Oracles go towards the upper right here, and just going to be having Probe heading back up in towards the main base. Observer is going to be on its way down as well. As again, a couple of Oracles going to be moving around through the top. And these Stalkers just going to come back over to the left, trying to repower the Twilight Council. Cyan is so committed to this single Twilight Council. I can't actually quite believe how committed he is. Like, I can't actually believe he is this committed to this. This is crazy. As we do see those Stalkers going to continue picking their way through this Twilight here. And that'll go down in the next few moments. The Twilight about to fall. Those couple of Oracles do get turned away with the Stalkers from Cyan there to push them back, so job well done in that regard. And as again from MaNa, just going to be Chronobusting out a couple of these probes. Immortals on the way out from MaNa as well, so getting that set up here as the 2 Oracles come all the way back down to the bottom right-hand side. They are going to be seeing just what they can do here very shortly, as we do see that Zealot starting to swipe its way through that shield battery. So shield battery taking some damage. I mean, just to wall off the MaNa to stop the Adepts from shading him before. What's so crazy is because Cyan did throw down the Nexus pretty quick, it kind of looks okay for him. You know, you look at the probe count and so on, it's like, well, yeah, not that bad. But he has to rebuild this tech. The tech is so much later than it originally should have been. Obviously, MaNa has things like a robo facility down, so he's already able to get immortal production going. And these are all things which Cyan is going to be missing out on going into the mid-game, of this PvP now. Fortunate Twilight dropping down as well, the +1 attack on the Forge, Corona boosting from MaNa though, so again, he pretty confidently moves in towards that as also here. And as we do again, just see these few units. And again, no real reason for MaNa to get aggressive yet, although I do feel as soon as he gets a couple of Immortals and maybe his +1 finishes, aiming to attack across the map might not be a bad idea. He'll know any sort of Twilight Council play will be delayed because he killed the first Twilight Council. He'll know that he killed a lot of Adepts early on as well. For 2 Stalkers, he killed 6 Adepts, and in the end, he got the 5 probe kills as well. So, MaNa will know he's the one that's dealt damage here. He'll know he has an army, and looks as though he's just going to go with 2 Immortals and a Warp Prism with a +1 upgrade about halfway done. That might finish up during a fight here. It's not going to be ready as he first arrives, but, well, let's see. As we see Charge on the way up from Cyan, he's going to try and see what he can do. For Temple Archives also dropping down, and a lot of extra gateways. Cyan going hyper-aggressive off of 2 bases, which... well, if he can get a few Warpins and Charge to finish, I think could go very well for him. I just look at this from MaNa and I'm like, well, I mean, how is Cyan going to get Charge to finish? How is Cyan going to get any Warpins ready? Because MaNa is ready to press in right here and right now. That 1 shield battery is going to help out a little bit, but there is only 1 shield battery here, and the Warp Prism is soon to arrive with another Immortal. I mean, in fact, there's the other Immortal on its own. The Warp Prism is actually still just coming across the map. The Oracles are forcing Stalkers to be warped into the main base. And Cyan is trying to hold off for his gateways to try and get an Archon in play here. As Stasis Ward comes down, he'll kill that off right away. And as you see this pile on the front, if that goes down, it means Warpins have to come from back over here. The Stasis actually catches a couple of probes there. As we see a couple of High Templar for another Archon. I mean, the first Archon already having gone down. This is absolutely brutal as we're going to be seeing. Well, he kills a couple of the sentries. Charge is about to finish from Cyan, so if there's ever an opportunity, it's maybe with some charge lots of his own. But with so many charge lots of MaNa coming in right now, it's not looking pretty. And again, it was MaNa that took a huge lead in the early stages of this game, number 1. And so MaNa will close it out. Has left the game. To the top right-hand side, our red Protoss player up a map now then in this PvP best of 3. As we head into game number 2, this from Team Liquid is MaNa. Up against the blue Protoss to the bottom left corner of the map, we have ourselves Cyan looking to come into this and show us what he can do. Again, honestly, you might see Cyan in this group and be like, ah, you know, a Chinese player on the European server, what on earth is he going to get done? And, well, you know, why invite him? Honestly, Cyan does very well in a lot of these online events. He does very well on the European server, like surprisingly well, I would say. I'm always surprised when I see kind of Cyan showing up and kind of playing in Europe, and you always expect him just to fall down. But then, for example, just last week I was casting him in one of my qualifiers, and he 2-0'd Bly. You know, so he's always someone that can come in, cause some chaos, kind of be a bit of a surprise. As you see this probe just chrono boosting out here. Simulators coming down as we get ourselves going on this game number 2. Probe going to be coming across through the top left as we do see another probe coming through the center. And obviously already Cyan looking to just kind of go and scout MaNa, maybe looking to be a bit sneaky with the fact his probe comes around the upper left hand side of this here. So that probe coming around, as you can see the side next core on the way up from both players. Probe coming through from both as well as that probe of Cyan pops up in towards the main base and is going to come and try and nibble some of these minerals. There's a probe pulled in from MaNa to push that back as well. So again, a little bit of action here as we do see this probe coming up, and MaNa going to scout around the main. Just having a little bit of a look to see what is going on here in these early stages. It's a double Stalker, Sentry, and a Stalker on the way up on each side. It's a little bit different. This time, I mean, Sentry Stalker is very kind of common if you go for an expansion, a very macro-organized play, because you're getting the hallucination, which can scout for you and pretty much tell you what's going on. Whereas MaNa will just go for the Stargate straight up, So this is interesting because Cyan will scout with the hallucination when it's ready. He will scout the fact that, you know, this is going to be a Stargate, so he will definitely go Phoenix against the Stargate. The question is, will MaNa also try and go Phoenix here? Cyan will pylon block the natural. I mean, there's a couple Stalkers here, of course, to push this back. Now MaNa going into his own sentry, but again, will be later. A sentry can't hallucinate right away. It takes 75 energy, so you have to wait a little while, and as soon as that sentry ticks towards 75 energy, boom, starts to go across the map, and looks to see what is, of course, going on. Just about as the Stargates are finishing, MaNa does go Oracle, and is it going to be a Phoenix from Cyan? It's going to be an Oracle of his own, so Oracle on Oracle, interesting. Now Cyan arrives here, and as he scouts, he does see that Stargate, so I wonder if he switches straight into a Phoenix, or, because he sees it's an Oracle, he knows he can get away with his own Oracle before going into Phoenix of his own. It might even be that he doesn't want to go into Phoenix versus Phoenix, so he just sort of continues to tech beyond the initial Oracle. Let's see what MaNa does now. After his first Oracle, he doesn't do anything with the Stargate. His hallucination now coming across the map. Cyan does opt for the Phoenix here. Getting this up, of course, means, oh, very good things, as MaNa will see the Oracle. He knows that's real because he knows there won't be another sentry to hallucinate again just yet. Then, but MaNa is still actually making another Oracle of his own. As the hallucination gets in, he now sees that Phoenix. Well, he's got a couple of choices, and he is going to keep this Oracle, it seems. He drops the Twilight Council down, so he's not going to try and play Phoenix versus Phoenix. These Oracles can still be useful if they don't commit themselves in too early, and eventually they manage to kind of sneak around and fly in together when the Phoenix are out of position. They will still get damage done, so maybe he's just going to go for the long play with these. As we see Stalkers coming out with the Twilight Council, obviously this looks as though we're going to be seeing some Blink play as well, and that means that MaNa will have a decent setup against the Phoenix that Cyan is currently going towards. Now Cyan, before he commits any further here, would want this next hallucination to just confirm what's going on. There's no point in him continuing to build Phoenix past a certain number or going into a second Stargate if this is not Phoenix versus Phoenix. So we're not going to see Cyan make any decisions until this hallucination arrives in the main. That's the point at which he says, okay, now I see how you're responding, I can respond myself. And when you see a Twilight Council down already, I think you throw a Robo Facility. In case it's DTs, and then you have Observers out. In case it's just Blink Stalkers, you have Immortals. And you go into your Twilight Council a bit later on, and you just go straight into charge, I would imagine, is the way to go. So there's the Robo Facility coming down. It makes a lot of sense based on what Cyan's been able to scout here in the early stages of this game number 2. As we do see Cyan with some Phoenix heading across to the top side of the map. Meanwhile, a Forge dropping down from MaNa in the main base as well. These Phoenix are trying to get a little bit aggressive here then, and let's see what they can do. It does mean that the Phoenix obviously out of position to potentially deal with Oracles as he lifts up just a bunch of Stalkers and will just allow himself to come in here and kind of sacrifice his Oracle for 4 workers. Kills off one of the Oracles of his opponent as we see the Phoenix now lifting up some more probes as well. This was 6 workers killed with just the Oracle going down. Oracle lost from both players there. That means there is one more from MaNa still on the map as they absolutely murder the attempt to find it in the production tab. I click all the wrong buttons. Get there in the end. It is just hanging around the main base. Thing is, though, if you know there's a second Oracle as Cyan, I mean, he's got a shield battery in each mineral line. He should be kind of okay here. These probes would probably have to pull away a little bit. Nothing too crazy, though, as we do see again that Blink continuing as the Immortal, and even a Void Ray coming up. That's how serious Cyan is about defending here. He knows the potential for MaNa to be very aggressive in this position. So he's just going to make a Void Ray just for safety's sake. Really nothing more. It's just going to help him stay very safe. As you do see that Void about to pop. And the Forge is about to start up that +1. So actually the players are staying pretty even in their upgrades. The Twilight will go straight into Charge, of course. Again, it makes no sense to play a late Blink like this at this stage of the game. Charge is by far and away the upgrade you want in the mid game. And it's something that I'm sure MaNa will start up for himself here very shortly. Obviously, the Stalkers are good to have Blink with early because you can do things like this. Move on the map, create opportunities. With the Oracle, he has high ground, so you can potentially Blink up into the main. All of these sort of little bits and pieces. Oh, he blinks in! No, the Stasis Ward was there! And MaNa just wasn't expecting it, probably because he didn't think about the fact the Oracle was here before. Oh man, that's huge. Well, what do you do now? Because obviously, where does Cyan position? Because obviously these Stalkers can blink away. But I feel as though you go further down here and you position yourself to force field those Stalkers in once they've blinked. Guardian Shield will pop while these Stalkers try and fight. He's going to go around to the side as we see a couple of hallucinations lifting some Stalkers. A couple of Phoenix lifting some Stalkers up. Wow. Well, that was a disaster, wasn't it? MaNa loses so much here. That was not what he was hoping for at all. And Well, now a Nexus from Cyan on the third base. There's no further pressure available from MaNa, obviously. So that's not good as we see this Oracle. It's going to come scouting up the left and around the top side of the map. Probe coming through the center here, and reduce here again a few Stalkers, the Void, and a couple of Mortals. All heading towards the top right-hand side of the map. Plus 2 attackers being chrono boosted here on the Forge, and, well, I mean, that might not really help MaNa here in terms of surviving this attack that's coming in. 2 Immortals already. I mean, I guess it's a lot of charge shots and does have Archons up, so it feels like MaNa has enough to defend with here. And looks as though Cyan sort of agrees. Backing away now, just happy with the fact he's got a third Nexus coming down that will help him out. MaNa's actually already on 8 warp gates, so he's got a lot of warping potential compared to Cyan, which is probably why he's able to overwhelm despite having just lost so much there. Looks as though MaNa is not having any intention, by the way, of building a robo. This is something that I was first introduced to by Petit Drogo, just going for the kind of the Zealot Archon only composition. As we are going to be seeing the extra few High Templar just warping in, the Zealots coming through too. MaNa's just going to go for this. He added on a bunch more gateways, so if this one coming up, he's on 11 gates on 2 bases. He is absolutely just going to go for this here in the next few moments. And Cyan has to be very careful. He's going to see the army right now. He should just back away instantly. He pops a Guardian Shield to help out. He's going to split up. I feel like Cyan does not have enough Archons to deal with the Zealot numbers. But then again, MaNa doesn't actually have charge yet, so it kind of is a good fight for Cyan. Force fields coming down don't really affect because of the fact these Archons can just break through them right away. Good micro on the Warp Prism by Cyan as well. And so far, so good. He just needs to work his way through these last few Archons, which are proven to be a little bit of difficulty. But honestly, if a Warp and a Zealots came in right now, Cyan would probably just break his way through this. Just needs a couple of units to back this up as well. That Immortal drops back down. Shield Battery will heal it up. Some of these Archons are just so low. The fact they're staying alive is insanely good for MaNa here, as he does take an army supply lead, and he has some potential now to perhaps break this third base down. He's about to have +2. He's got charge finished as well now, so his army is better than it was before, and Cyan might have just been broken. Man, imagine these Archons were dead. Suddenly this army of Cyan is so able to fight this. His third Nexus will go down. I mean, these Archons are still low, but now extra Archons join the army too. And Cyan, I kind of liked the idea originally of going in with this, but it felt like he took forever to warp in the extra units here. And so you are going to be seeing those Zealots and those Archons just coming up into the center of the map. Alright, so those are moving around. You see Cyan is coming forwards with these Zealots and Archons, coming to do quite a lot. Archons in the back line, getting a lot done, and again, feels like MaNa maybe just has enough here, but the Zealots are starting to break through from Cyan, so maybe not, as you're going to be seeing those Zealots continue to charge forwards, and maybe Cyan is going to be able to clean this up in the end. Wow. Okay, well, he's going to be able to. He's chasing quite hard. Oh, extra Zealots coming in. The Warp Prism saves. Again, an Archon on 6 hit points. An Archon that is basically out of shields. Such low health on all of this. Crazy. Okay, well, to the left side, a gateway still stands, and that's something which Cyan may not actually expect, because, I mean, he never saw a Warp Prism, right? And of course, there isn't one because there's never a robo facility here for MaNa. But, yes, so maybe he should kind of figure out that there is a gateway just sat there warping in on the left side. Here we go. We do see these units coming forwards. A couple of High Templar warping in right now as Cyan is looking to make a push to end the game. Now Cyan, though, is in an awkward spot. He's on less gateways without a third Nexus. And so going into this position, he's kind of the one that has to do something, whereas MaNa can just sort of come in at a bit of a later point. Here he goes. Stalkers from the back as well will just help to kind of pop some barriers and actually target down the Warp Prism. So the Warp Prism will go down. Suddenly no reinforcements, suddenly no micro potential, and that takes away a lot from this army, as now Cyan cracking away with a couple of Archons, with a couple of Immortals. What a fantastic game of PvP in game number 2. MaNa will take it, but not without a good fight, a good back and forth.